And what happens when you spec a really expensive 430, and Ferrari spends a lot of time and effort and all the options and all the crap, they do something different when they're transporting it, which is pretty interesting. Now, usually they transport it on a boat. This one was flown in. It's not very comfortable. All right, how's it going, guys? Dylan from If Cars Could Talk, and I hope everybody's doing, well, a little bit well today. And I'm kind of stuck here to do my video, which is kind of a good segue, I guess, because obviously the coronavirus is still rampant, and I, again, send my wishes to all of you to be healthy, safe, quarantined, lonely, whatever you want to call it. And that's part of the reason why I have to probably keep filming here for a little while, and that's why I did my last video called the Garage Quarantine video, where I gave you a tour of all our cars, so check out that video when you're done with this one. I'm going to be talking to you about an old series that I used to have called My Car Life. And essentially I tell stories that are pretty rad, interesting, sad, whatever you want to call it, you'll be interested, while I drink a beer, I guess. Now, the beer has no association to anything whatsoever. Today we're drinking a Leffe, quite a sweet beer. It plays with the tongue, one would say. But essentially the whole purpose is I just like beer, and I think, well, I better damn well finish it by the time I finish my story. I think that's a fair deal. Again, I do not endorse them. I do like them though, so maybe that's endorsing. They're not paying me. This is a story about, well, when I spec'd the most expensive Ferrari 430 ever when I was just 13. Alright, so, yeah, that title's a bit crazy. 13, spec'ing a Ferrari. And you're probably thinking, well, that's a spoiled brat. I think I'm a lucky brat. I've been a car family my whole life, and my dad has always made sure to make us a part of that car life. So when he dropped us off, it was unexpected. We thought we were going there to order his first new Ferrari, which was the coolest thing ever, obviously. A bright red Ferrari to call our own. And then when he got to the dealership, he said, "You two go inside and order it. I'm gonna go get a cappuccino." And I was thinking to myself, no way, like, you're screwing with me, you're joking. My dad's like, no, seriously, go inside. He knew the salesman, so maybe he slightly thought that the salesman would be like, oh, he's my friend, he'll take care of things. One problem, he's a salesman, so he'll be like, great, 13-year-old, let me make them order everything. And that's what a 13-year-old wants to do. I mean, you kind of want every option, you're childlike. You're not thinking about price tags behind each thing. But there certainly was, which is why we ended up getting to the price we did. This is a picture of our Ferrari 430. And this is actually a binder that holds all the information in it. And thank God, so I don't look like an idiot in this video. Let me go through the specs and then I'll tell you where we went a little crazy. So generally speaking, what was the color? Rosa Corsa, which is the classic red color. It's a little cliche, but I mean, when you order your first new Ferrari, it's just kind of a beautiful vision to get it in the stereotypical red. Instead of getting the regular tan interior, which is what everyone was getting back then, we got it in black, otherwise known as Nero. God, look at that, Rosa Corsa over Nero. I'm basically an Italian. We got the body type being a Spyder because my dad insisted. I love convertibles. We have great weather, sorry everybody else. And he loves to be able to take the roof off. It adds another dimension to the enjoyment of the car, and plus you can hear the bloody nose. And that car had an amazing, amazing exhaust. It was coming off the 360, which was a bit quieter. Now, in addition to that, the next thing that we really wanted, but we didn't end up getting, or we couldn't get, was a manual transmission. This was coming off an era where manual transmissions were kind of superior to paddles. Paddles were just coming off of the 355s, the 360s, and they were notoriously they were slow, cumbersome, and they broke themselves over time. This was supposed to be a state-of-the-art F1 transmission. Ferrari was very much in the F1 days, and it was actually quite impressive. So that was actually something we had it on doing, because they said if you want the manual, you may not even get it, and you're gonna have to wait a hell of a lot longer. And we got pushed to the top of the list with this car. Now, it's not because we're important, because we're not. It's actually because we're nice people, so we think. Because we would always just get coffee with the people that worked at Ferrari. We would be human beings. And ironically, that gets you higher up a list than a bag of money. Now, moving on to the more detailed specs, and this is where things got expensive when you have a 13-year-old managing things. We wanted to go for the black-red theme, so we got black Nero Daytona seats, as I said, but the Daytonas add these little red inserts. And then I was like, but Daddy, what if we do more red? So we got red stitching, and I was like, what if we do even more red? So I got red piping, and he's like, no, we're not doing red piping. So we took the red piping off. Thank God, that would have been so ugly. It reminds me of like those weird, like, I don't know, Pimp My Ride cars. Anyway. And then on top of that, we got red brake calipers to contrast as well. Oh, we got the shields, of course. If you don't get the shields on these Ferraris, yeah, that's an option. Those things on the front, on the sides right by the mirrors, you actually can lose quite a bit of money on the secondhand market. They do not go. It's like a thing you have to check off. The dealer probably won't even let you order it without it. Some 360s had it, but yeah. In addition to that, the other red option I got, which was unheard of at the time, and yes, I think I was basically a 430 whisperer back then, even at the age of 13, because I'd done all the configurators and all these things. I found out that you can get the tack in a different color. And I found out that you can option it in red. So we got red, more red. And then in addition to that, where it got incredibly expensive was the carbon fiber. So there's multi-stage carbon fiber options you can get on these cars, even the new ones today. You can get it on the steering wheel as like a stage 1 option. You can get a stage 2 option where it kind of goes onto the air vents. And then I think there was like a third option where it went in the central tunnel where the armrest is. And hold on, I've been talking way too much, sorry. The rear sensors we got, the iPod option we got, the hi-fi speakers, which are the larger speakers. The next one we got, which was probably the biggest option out of all of them, was the ceramic brakes. Now, ceramic brakes back then were super hot. It was like the cool thing to get. But, you know, not many people made them. I think Ferrari is one of the first companies that like kind of was offering it on the more mainstream non-race spec cars. Essentially, they're race brakes. These are the brakes that you see when someone brakes really hard and they go red. They can retain the heat. They don't create brake dust. That was the biggest selling feature. They're like, you know, you're not going to have to clean the wheels as much. And then the Ferrari owner goes, I don't clean them. So basically, that was a $10,000 option, which is absolutely insane and unheard of. And yes, 13-year-old Dylan went, yes, I want race brakes, which was the craziest thing one could do, honestly. Hold on. There's a little option called the carbon fiber rear grille. Now, what was crazy about this wasn't even the price tag of it, but the fact that we didn't even know what the hell it looked like. That's right, this car had kind of just come out a little while ago, and they were introducing more and more options as it came, but Italy being Italy and Ferrari being Ferrari, no one really had pictures at the dealer, so they were kind of trying to sell these features, obviously, to get the cars up in price, but they couldn't really do anything other than talk about it. I mean, these guys didn't even really know. And this is the grille that you saw on more of the later cars, but specifically the Scuderia. That's that carbon fiber grille at the back. Now, this didn't mean it had central exhaust like the Scuderia, but this meant more carbon fiber. And 13-year-old Dylan was like, well, if it's more carbon fiber, then we should probably do it. Don't let a 13-year-old spec your car, for Christ's sake. But anyway, we ended up getting this carbon fiber grille. We had no idea what it was going to look like. And then suddenly when the car actually ended up coming, we loved it. I mean, it's super cool. It adds a totally aggressive look to the car. Hold on, let me drink water. Alright, so I've told you the specs of the car, and that's what made it so damn expensive. But you still have two questions. How expensive was it, and how do you know it was the most expensive 430 to ever be specced? Well, first of all, it came to $285,000. Almost $300,000 in 2007. Now, if we convert that with inflation, that is $355,563.42, which is insane for any car, let alone a Ferrari V8. Because you have to keep in mind, well, no one was paying that type of money for V8s back then. they were incredibly hard to get, so people actually were paying premiums of up to $100,000 before the recession and everything like that, which is also insane. But for a sticker price, I mean, that was absolutely mad. And they had told us actually that this is, well, probably one of the most expensive ones that has ever been specced. And what happens when you spec a really expensive 430, and Ferrari spends a lot of time and effort and all the options and all the crap, they do something different when they're transporting it, which is pretty interesting. Now, usually they transport it on a boat. This one was flown in. That's right, our Ferrari 430 was flown in to get to us because it was considered so valuable and so expensive, and Ferrari didn't want to risk any damage going to it. Well, in the sense that they didn't want it to become a 430 submarine if that boat went down. Now, if you haven't already turned off this video because I've bored you with my speaking, allow me to hopefully bore you a little more, because I have a nice sentiment, a little romantic letter from my father to Ferrari, thanking them for his Ferrari. It starts like this. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for the incredible gift I received this last November in the form of my F430 Spyder. It arrived too early for Christmas, and it would not fit under my Christmas tree that I know of, so I had to open it up a little earlier than expected. And I've unfortunately not been able to resist opening it up on the local roads either. My two sons, Laurent 20 and Dyllon 13, both specify the car to an extensive list of options that it came with. As far as I know, this is the first instance of two brothers performing this task. Firstly, without fighting with each other, and secondly, without parental input. Now, the fact that I stayed completely out of the picture was not to try to establish some kind of precedent with the Ferrari community. Rather, is with the intent of keeping peace at home and never being responsible for ordering something my kids couldn't agree upon. I probably would have ordered something a little quieter with respect to the color rather than Rosa Corsa that the car came in. I also probably would have ordered slightly less options than my two sons did, bless their hearts. But regardless, the car still represents a harmonious balance of form and function, engineering and design, and of course, desire. So I look forward with anticipation to the next generation of Ferraris, which hint at more power, lighter materials, and of course, better track times. But in the meantime, I shall enjoy my F430 Spyder to the fullest by driving it and looking at it every time I go to the garage, even for the most menial reasons. Sincerely, Steven. Now that's the first time I've ever read this, and I actually didn't know he wrote this. I was looking in his Ferrari binder, and it's pretty beautiful. And it shows you that we are not the typical car family that you want us to be, or that you think we are. We have a lot of nice cars around us, but in no way are we flashy, or do we take these things for granted. We love cars, just like when we ordered the 430, and now when we've ordered our Dawn. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and before I finish, allow me to finish. If you want to see what type of equipment I use, please do check the Amazon links below. If you want to, well, see me on more things, I'm of course on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Guys, if you like the video, give it a damn like. And if of course you want to see more of me, do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.